to face significant challenges when it comes to effectively addressing cyber concerns. Cybersecurity maybe wasn't such a trend, and it wasn't such a high priority for not just people, but for a lot of companies. If we look back, even not that long ago, like 3-4 years back, it was not it was not the highest priority. And now it's continuing to grow. As you can see, cyber attacks are continuing to grow all the time. More than 50% of all cyber attacks that are becoming successful in companies are happening due to human error, human factor when it comes to social engineering attacks. So that number one. So when we say making an impact, a global impact. Another one, the second one, is basically high employment rate. So one of the second reasons why to go into cybersecurity, it's high employment rate. Because the 2022 cybersecurity workforce study indicates that while the cybersecurity workforce has reached an all-time high of 4.7 million professionals, there's still a global shortage of 3.5 million workers in this field. Imagine 3.5 million workers in this field globally. And another recent study by the cybersecurity firm Trellix states that 66% of IT managers across the UAE and Saudi Arabia believe that organizations lack the right people and processes to be cyber resilient. On top of that, in order to close the security gap as much and as fast as possible, cyber job descriptions are often poorly defined and tend to combine several roles into a single position, which discourages potential candidates from applying. And when they eventually succeed, when eventually the companies succeed to find a suitable or a unicorn candidate, companies often struggle to retain them due to high stress, high demand, high load, etc., because it's a lot of things to cover, because they're trying to combine so many jobs in one job description. There are many factors for the high demand in cybersecurity professionals. The most obvious ones, if we take, it's the post-pandemic shift to remote operations. After COVID, a lot of companies, a lot of employees shifted to working remotely, to work from home offices, and they still remain the same. So maybe partially they came back to offices, but a lot of employees worldwide still working from home, working remotely. And the second obvious factor is the emergence of innovative tools such as OpenAI's AI chatbots, ChatGPT, Google's Bard. Yes, AI is revolutionizing the technology landscape. But at the same time, it immediately presents new challenges in cybersecurity, especially when it comes to social engineering attacks. They're becoming more sophisticated, trickier. They're more believable for people to, they're more believable, and that makes it very hard for people to spot. So the third factor, the third reason is competitive salaries. So competitive salaries, and it comes basically, if you take after the second reason, so it makes sense that there are competitive salaries because there's a big shortage of workforce in cybersecurity space. It's always a chasing game. The cybersecurity AI keeps evolving, technology keeps evolving, therefore attackers also keep evolving. They get more sophisticated tools. The attacks are becoming much more sophisticated. And in cybersecurity field, for cybersecurity professionals, that's always a chasing game, where the threat actors are always somehow a step ahead. So companies have to go with the reactive approach rather than proactive. So they're already, they're always a bit late. So they have to react very fast. And while there's a shortage, they need to find people right now and as fast as possible. And therefore, they are ready to offer very competitive salary, pretty high salaries in that domain in order to cover and to manage their risks that keep arising all the time. So the fourth reason is job satisfaction. So job satisfaction is basically when you enter into the cybersecurity space, it keeps on challenging you all the time. It never gets boring. You always have to learn. Like I mentioned before, it's a chase and game. So in order to be able to keep up and to manage risks properly, to educate people around, to help companies stay cyber resilient, you always have to learn, and it's never ever ending story. So there's always challenges, and it gets quite overwhelming. That's why job satisfaction in a way that you will never get bored. There's always things to learn. It always encourages you to for self development, for self growth. And the fifth reason, so I'm moving to a perfect path. It's versatile career path. So how can you enter into cybersecurity space? Where do you start? And now I'm going to walk you through different career paths. I will not, of course, go into very deep details, but I will give you an understanding, and will also share my personal experience. So let's move. Perfect or starting path. Perfect in the marks, because it's basically how would you define in the textbook what would be a perfect or ideal starting path. As per Great Learning, you can see it will be first, get your bachelor's degree in computer science or a similar field, but usually definitely something tech related. Then second, you have to gain knowledge of firewalls and various forms of endpoint securities, knowledge in programming languages. Third one will be get knowledge of languages, tools such as C#, Java, Node, Python, Ruby, Go, PowerShell. It's always an added advantage. Then the fourth one, you need to actually build your experience. So the ability, when you get the experience, you also, while building experience, you also need to have the ability to often work under pressure and in a very fast-growing, fast-paced environment. Number 5, it's develop interpersonal skills, so which is possess the right eye for detail and outstanding problem-solving skills. And there's a list goes on for those skills. And the 6th one is basically to stay up to date with the latest cybersecurity trends and hacker tactics. So that would be like high level, perfect starting path, which could lead you to the entry level job, which is cybersecurity analyst. Of course, it starts maybe with junior cybersecurity analyst, and then cybersecurity analyst, and then there's certain variations where you can grow into next. So if you're new to cybersecurity, you may start out in an entry-level IT role, such as a help desk technician, network administrator, software developer. So many cybersecurity professionals enter the field as a junior cybersecurity analyst after gaining some experience in IT. So the first job, they might not be specifically cybersecurity related, but it could be a good foundation. Though before, like we went through the steps, there's education, there's certain work experience that's required in order to enter to junior cybersecurity analyst position. So here you can see what cybersecurity analysts do, just for a high-level understanding. So you can see it gets quite techy. So technical background, that's why very essential, and that's why it's listed in a kind of ideal starting path. So in order, I will also share here, and I think there will be duplicated the couple of sources in the chat. So what is the suggested entry-level courses and sources I could recommend? If we're talking about the cybersecurity analyst, which is an entry-level role, it would be a good thing to start with getting the Microsoft Cybersecurity Analyst Professional Certificate. Then there's other sources that could help you get started in the cybersecurity field, which is Great Learning Academy. There's lots of sources on LinkedIn. If you just search on LinkedIn courses for cybersecurity, you'll find lots of them for different levels. And then we all know Udemy, Coursera, so it's good sources where you can actually start. And from there, you can grow yourself into different roles. So, for example, it can be IT security administrator, it can be incident response analyst, which is basically responding to incident that happen. And then cybersecurity consultant, where you can advise companies what to do, how maybe build their cybersecurity security infrastructure, or how to protect their infrastructure architecture, how to actually set up maybe certain security processes. So cybersecurity consultant is also, it requires a lot of knowledge and experience. Then there's a possibility to grow into information security analyst, and then maybe ethical hacker. There's penetration tester. So ethical hacker and penetration tester, it's called like offensive security, where you can you hire ethical hackers and penetration testers for the job, which is you pay them to kind of simulate and try to hack into the systems, or into the company systems, and maybe perform some simulations of phishing attacks on employees. So that's what they usually do. So they explore vulnerabilities, they find different if there's any vulnerabilities that exist, so they basically report it to the company, and they get paid for it. I'm very sorry, I'm maybe not pronouncing sometimes sentences or words fully, because it's been a very long day of calls. So I hope it's still clear the way I express my thoughts. So also from here, you can grow into security engineers, and then there's other roles of managerial level, which is more advanced. It could be cybersecurity managers, and also the highest would be chief information security officer, which is basically overlooking the whole cybersecurity program from all different aspects for the company. Also, there's possibility to grow into security architect as well. But you can see they're all very technically loaded, tech loaded. So there, it requires a lot of tech knowledge and a lot of experience. Next one, we'll go to alternative paths. Alternative paths, it's basically, you might be asking, okay, how will I go into cybersecurity? I have another degree which is not related to computer science or engineering or information technology. It's not something that you maybe chose to pursue a different degree, but now you're actually interested to get into cybersecurity field, and you want to see your options because this is what you want to try, that's what you want to do, that what drives you. So of course there's other possibilities. It's there's alternative paths, and there's lots of ways to enter that sector and be very useful. And so from here, what could be basically helpful? So while the most common path toward a career in cybersecurity involves earning a degree, you don't have to have one to find a job in the field. In fact, just over 30% of those working in information security do not have any degree. So, or they do not have bachelor's degree related to science. So they do not have any degree at all. So according to the BLS study. So also consider the points I mentioned in the beginning. Remember, shortage of professional force, high demand right now. So as soon as possible, they need security professional yesterday. There is no time to wait, because the threat landscape keeps evolving every day. companies do not have the luxury of time to wait for fresh graduates that still need time to find their feet, that have zero work experience and lack of practical experience. So there's no time. They need someone right now. And that's why they also look into some other factors that a person could have, so some other qualities. And in this case, while you don't have degree, you can still do your homework. So learn fundamentals. And I shared some courses before and some sources. You can learn fundamentals about cybersecurity. So basically, what is the difference between risk, vulnerability, and threat? You can, what is CIA TRIAD, which is confidentiality, integrity, availability of data. So what is risk management, what is incident response, and you can look into the fundamentals of the cybersecurity. And there's plenty of online courses, and there's a lot of them are for free that could help you understand and get started. Then also you might want to find a specialization and that you would be suitable for you, would be not textbook ideal career path, but it would be your ideal career path where you can see which interests you the most in the cybersecurity. So do your homework, find a specialization. Then you might want to pursue a certification. There can be different certifications. So if you are coming from, if you have technical knowledge and maybe you you don't have a degree, but you understand a lot of things when it's related to infrastructure architecture or programming. You learn certain programming languages on your own. So in that case, you might want to try to pursue a certification, prepare, which is more on the technical side. But there's also other certifications that are related to maybe managerial level, where you want to oversee the whole cybersecurity posture of the company, the cybersecurity program, where you want to maybe go for the auditor experience, because there's also security auditors in that field, because there's a lot of different guidelines that are internationally recognized and that companies can follow and have to follow when they work in certain domains, and it's a must-have. So there's also an auditor's career path that you can pursue, which is not specifically tech-loaded in this case. Then you can gain some practical experience, which is maybe try and engage in some. So practical experience, it might be kind of, I would say, theory-based when you learn in courses, and you can have a case study, like Sony breach, for example. Sony breach is a very well-known, you can just Google Sony breach and you can find lots of information online. There's lots of case studies when it happened. It was massive. And maybe you want to try and get some kind of practical experience there and see if you can enhance their incident response plan and see and test yourself and see what were the things that they miss, or what were the things they could have done before, or they could have invested more, or different things kind of review and apply your critical thinking in that case. You can find a mentor. There's a lot of cybersecurity professionals that they post a lot of resources. They post a lot of articles on LinkedIn, for example. You can follow them, maybe get yourself a mentor. And it's always useful because they can share with you their personal experience, maybe give you a little bit guidance. And so if you also, I'm open to any questions. Like I said, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can message me. I'm very open, and I could maybe advise you something as well from my side. Then also building a strong network. Again, if we take LinkedIn, building a strong network, you can, once you went through fundamentals, once you found find your specialization, maybe you get certification, maybe you did your homework, you did some case studies, and you tried yourself to play around with different things. And then you can join different groups on LinkedIn related to cybersecurity, where they exchange ideas, they ask questions. You can post your questions, you can engage in different conversations, you can start building a network, which is a virtual one. Maybe you can find communities or meetups where you like-minded people, so you can connect more and exchange ideas and share different knowledge. So that's always useful. Another thing which really helps, and it kind of for cybersecurity people, it's kind of a habit. We read news on cybersecurity, so we read news on the latest breaches, on the latest vulnerabilities, on cybersecurity latest updates and trends. And that's all. That also helps a lot, because you can sometimes come across, not sometimes, a lot of times you can come across different breaches that are happening all over the world, and you can read the details on how companies manage their incident response, how they communicate with end users, all different sort of things. So one that is on top of my mind right now, Zoom, for example, like a couple of weeks back, they released their new privacy policy. And in that privacy policy, they basically put, they wrote down that they can get access to all the calls. They can record all the calls, all the screen sharing sessions. They can capture all the data and store it with them to educate their AI models, AI learning process. So that was a huge backlash from the community of security professionals, because that was kind of violation of privacy, that users that calls could be, basically everything that was discussed could be recorded by Zoom and stored with them. So that's those kind of things. Then you can understand from this, for example, if you see the news, you can understand, okay, then in security, privacy policy is actually a huge thing. And then privacy policy plays a big role when it comes to dealing with customers, or when it comes to understanding different compliance or data privacy rules and data privacy laws that are different, maybe from region to region, from country to country. So there's a lot of things. And then there's another from here, then you can also maybe guess from here, there's another career path that follows, which is not that technical and doesn't require computer science engineering background. It can be related to law regulations, for example. A lot of law professionals also might enter cybersecurity because they can understand laws in different countries, and then their data privacy laws and different other regulations specific to different regions. So law people also work in cybersecurity, and they overlook compliance, and a lot of them legal professionals, they go into auditor roles, they grow into governance, risk and compliance roles. So, and you can see it doesn't require computer science engineer background. It's kind of a different entry point into the cybersecurity field. And of course, the last one would be personalize your resume and apply for entry-level jobs. And of course, if you have a mentor, if you get yourself a mentor, you can definitely ask any advice on how to build your CV, or even check out LinkedIn profiles or of security professionals you follow, and see if you can get tips from there as well, and some hints based on their profiles and what they share, what they write. So yes, that's additional sources. These are pretty straightforward, so I didn't really put links. If you're interested, you can just maybe Google. See, they're very straightforward. If you put the Hacker News, you will see the Hacker News last watchdog. So it's very straightforward. That's other additional sources where you can get your knowledge from, and it can be quite interesting for you. There's more online communities. When I mentioned building your networks, then you can join online communities like Try Hack Me, NetSec Focus, Trusted Sec. So also very straightforward. If you Google them, you will land specifically on those websites easily. You will find. You can join those communities. And sorry, there was a Slack channel I did. So Slack channel, it's an open Slack channel. You can join. And from here, I will move. Sorry, I haven't been checking the chat. I'm gonna check the chat before I move to my professional experience. Okay. Do we have any questions? Okay, Mohammed is writing, what do you think is best? Get a good quality certificate or get a degree, especially if time frame is tight? Yes, you're right. The time frame is very, very tight. I personally, it really depends on what background you are coming from. So and what do you want to pursue? If you want something very technical, if you see yourself in a very technical role, then you might wanna, and you don't have experience with that, then of course degree could be very useful, but it will take longer time. You're right, it will take 4 years, right? At least 4 years. If you go for online resources and you get courses that and you very eager to learn and you really invest your time, then it will take maybe twice less time. It depends on you. So you can cut the time frame if you do your self-learning, but you really need to be invested. That is right, because the university will not cut the time, correct? So you will have 4 years or more, and this is it. So there's no way to do it faster. But with your self-learning, there is a way to do faster. So it really depends on you. I would personally go for, in this case, of course, I would go for a good quality certificate. And maybe there are certain certifications that are very technically loaded. They can go for 1 year long, but it is already less than 4 years. But at the same time, if you do this 1 year, you need to invest yourself in doing additional homework, sources, read whatever you can, speak to people. Don't be afraid. Grow your networking community. So it really a lot will depend on you. And the second question, are having high skills in ethical hacking is needed to work in cybersecurity? It's a great question. No, of course, no. You don't need to have high skills in ethical hacking at all. In fact, you don't even have to pursue ethical hacking. It's really up to you. For example, ethical hacking, it requires programming skills and very good, deep technical knowledge and a lot of critical thinking and creativity. It's really great job. It's very hard. It's very tough. Can be very fun, I understand. And but no, ethical hacking is not needed at all. It's totally up to you. If you want to pursue that career, if you're interested in challenging yourself and breaking into company systems and I don't know, social engineering people and so on, okay, this is your path. But if you're interested more on protecting organization, on the defensive security, then no, ethical hacking is not needed at all. Ethical hacking is on the offensive security, while building cybersecurity programs, securing infrastructure, architecture, systems, educating people, security awareness trainings, that's on defensive security side. But great questions. Thank you so much. I think there's no more for now. So you can ask questions now. I'm going to share my personal experience. I talked about ideal career path. I talked about some alternative ways. I'm going to share my personal experience. And oh, sorry, I'm going to stay on this slide. I didn't even put that. I'm going to be just talking the way it happened with me. So my experience is very mixed. I um, I had a start a little bit, let's say, challenging for myself. So up until the my senior year at high school, I was sure that I would pursue international business, international communications related degree, and I would go and learn um, languages, and basically I saw myself in international business management. So maybe I was thinking, okay, maybe eventually I will get MBA or something like this. But and I was not taking the informatics or any computer science or like nothing like that, no classes related to computer skills at school, because I was sure I was not gonna pursue that career path. So a long story short, it happened that I actually, because I was good with physics and math, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna apply to the university, to the information technology university, and for computer science engineering, just for fun, because they were accepting, they were taking physics exam as an alternative to the computer science exam. I don't know why they did that, but they were doing that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm good with physics. I'm good with math. I love it. So I decided to do it. And I came to university. I was accepted. I was accepted on full ride scholarship. And I came to the university, and I had there was in my group, in my class, so there was a big class, but the class was segregated into 4 groups. So in my group, I had 24 people. 21 out of them were guys, were men, and 3 girls. So I was one out of 3 girls. And I had 0 programming skills. I had 0 computer skills. Okay, I mean, I was aware what laptop is and how to use Office, and I mean, basic stuff. So I open email. But I did have good science background. So because I was really into physics, I was really into applied sciences. And that was a learning curve for me. Everyone was programming, but I had to learn the hard way. So for me, it was new. And yeah, basically, it was very complicated. I finished university. I got my computer science engineering degree. I graduated, but it was a very, very complicated learning path for me. But I, of course, am very grateful that, I don't know, somehow I got lucky. Something made me go and pursue the go into IT university. That helped. So I did start with the kind of textbook ideal path, which I got my computer science engineering degree. Later, of course, I was not thinking about any cybersecurity stuff. So for me, that was something that I would never consider, especially back then. And then I started as a technical support engineer for Microsoft Exchange Services. So it was cloud computing, cloud communications, and I was just a technical support engineer. That was my entry level job, nothing related to cybersecurity. And I remember that security people were always giving me a hard time because everything was restricted. I couldn't go there. I couldn't download this. I couldn't play games. I don't know. I couldn't go on social media so much. So there was a lot of complications and restrictions, and I hated that because I didn't understand the purpose behind it. It just I felt like I'm just being told what to do, and that's it. Of course, now I understand why it was that way, but back then I didn't. And from technical support engineer, I pursued project management. So I didn't go into programming, I didn't go into system administration, nothing like that. I pursued project management because it was a combination. Technical project management, you work with developers, you communicate, you need to understand development life cycle, and at the same time you communicate with business a lot. So business brings ideas, the business brings requirements, what needs to be developed, how the product should evolve. And that was very interesting for me to kind of be that link between business and technical side. And I was basically in project management for 9 years, 8 years, 8 years, I think, yeah, 8 years. And I loved it. So project management was super fun, and I didn't have any thought about security at all. So that was an absolutely different path, which is not textbook ideal path. It was just my own. I got into project management, and I was when you're in technical project management in IT, so you kind of have the luxury of switching between different sectors. So I was in Microsoft Cloud Communications, then I was in aviation, then I worked in energy sustainability, and then in consulting, and in test and automation. So all different kinds of things. And then I came across security. And it wasn't that because I was interested in it. I was given a security project, which was related to security compliance. And like I mentioned, there are different standards of security compliance. They're international, they're applicable based on sectors that companies work in, and kind of gives assurance to customers that, okay, this company cares about security. That's why companies have to go through for certain certifications and certain security frameworks. And I was given a security project to get a company certified with certain framework, to get the company compliant with certain framework, and then basically pursue the international security certifications to show the customers that the company cares about security. Why the company had to do it? It's because of customers requesting, because of the demand, because potential customers, they needed to see that in order to trust the company. And that's how cybersecurity got dropped on me. And I thought, okay, it's just a project that I can do. It was project management. I had a very good international background back then in different sectors. And then I discovered that security is a whole new world. It's a whole new, it's completely different, and things work differently, and they're much faster, they're more complicated. It keeps evolving faster than anything else. And I understood, okay, I need to learn. I have to. So, and what did I do? I didn't have time to pursue a security degree, for example. So yes, I have my foundation, computer science engineering. I was not in programming. I did not have any experience as a developer, as a network engineer, or any security engineer or security analyst, nothing like that. So I got into courses. Because I have had some foundation, so I went for a more advanced course, which was more serious. So it's not like it's not fully foundation. So I took a semester in Harvard to manage risks and to basically get to build cybersecurity programs. So that course contained theory, a fast-paced course, theory, lots of practice, where you have to write your own assignments, and it has to be your own. So you really need to build your own processes to assess your company, to assess the infrastructure, to assess systems, to identify risks and what systems fall under those risks. So lots of different things. It was really cool because it's theoretical, practical, and it also they also introduced lots of networking. So I got to learn along with people that were working in national and security defense, national security of the US. I, I had a CISO of FIFA in my group. So there was a lot of CISOs, which is executive level, like chief level security people. And that was, of course, imagine that was something, yeah, new world. Those level of people, those security professionals, being able to attend live classes with them, to have group sessions with them, group assignments, and also have chat with them and see their there was a chat where we could interact with each other, and we also could share different um, insights of or opinions on what we read in the hacker news, for example, on the cyber news, the news that come out, different breaches that come out. So they kept on always discussing those things, and it kind of became a habit for me. So I understood, okay, this is how you need to stay updated. Those people with 20, 30 years of experience, 15, 20, 25, they're different levels of experience, and they keep on learning, and they are attending online courses. So imagine cybersecurity, it's never ending learning process. So regardless of what is your start, you see that those professionals with many years of experience, with in multinational companies with thousands of employees, with a very, very complicated infrastructure systems, they still keep on learning. They go and get their online courses. Yes, they're different, can be different level, more complicated, but they still go and they keep on learning. They read news, they stay up to date, and it's just it's very inspiring. So, and then you can see it's always challenging. It never gets boring. That's cybersecurity space, and that was my path. Basically, I got so much knowledge, and I kept on going through different courses. I still do. I still attend webinars on risk management. I still read news. It's a habit. I start my morning with reading news after coffee, of course, and then it's um, it's just a lifestyle. Let's say when I don't know if you guys, whoever is watching it, watch my previous sessions. I talk about establishing cybersecurity mindset. For me, that was basically establishing cybersecurity mindset for myself, understanding it in depth, and basically growing so passionate about this field. So I can talk about awareness all the time with people. I think my friends get tired of it. So that's the cybersecurity mindset that all security professionals need to have. It's constant learning, this passion, and trust me, it doesn't get boring. It's so interesting, and it's just amazing. So I can I can talk about it for a very long time, but that's my personal experience, and that's how I got into it. So you can see, I did not have any technical experience, development, programming experience. I had the only foundation I had for the cybersecurity career was computer science and engineering. The rest was online courses, networking, reading different stuff, and constant learning all the time, whatever you find online. And there's so many free sources you can get. So I think before I move to the last slide, I think, or a couple of last slides, I'm going to check the chat. Okay, you're welcome, Mohammed. Another question. Based on your experience, which field do you find more comfortable and financially rewarding in terms of salary? Coding or cybersecurity? Okay, so I don't have a coding experience. I mean, I had coding experience in university, but I don't have coding experience in terms of jobs, job experience. The actual one, I can definitely tell you. So when I walked through the first slides and I was talking about the high demand in cybersecurity professionals and the global lack of professionals in different organizations and different sectors, I can definitely tell you, when companies find right candidates and they can see all that passion, all that knowledge, and thirst for knowledge, hunger, they are ready to pay, because people are understanding more and more that cybersecurity is becoming one of the highest priority. Even before it was business people, they were not so, business, they want to generate revenue. It's normal. It's their goals, the KPIs. They need to generate revenue. They need to grow the companies. This is how business works. So before, business used to invest, they put sales and marketing first. Now you can see the trend changing so much that business people, they understand how much cybersecurity is important. So they are ready to invest into their programs. They're ready to invest into their people. They're ready to invest into security awareness trainings for their employees, for their staff, because they see the threat. They know that cybersecurity is a supporting foundation, supporting brick, which if you remove it, then the whole organization is at risk of failing completely. And then it doesn't really make a difference how much money you make if there is no foundation anymore. So yes, that's why. And the shortage of skills and the high demand, and that the hackers are so fast evolving. I can definitely tell you that it's very rewarding financially. So, and it's continue being that because, I mean, covering millions of skills professionals missing in that field, it's going to take years because some of them are still in the university pursuing cybersecurity uh, degrees, or their other computer science engineering degrees, and they still need to learn. They still need some experience there, so they still need investment in terms of knowledge sharing and stuff. So yeah, that's faster you enter, then yeah, more appreciated you will be. I hope that answers make sense and to you and answers your question. So I will move to next slide. I wanted to also cover essential personal skills. So when I was talking from my personal experience, and I said that I grew into the managerial level in the cybersecurity field from the project management background, professional experience. It's different from what they suggest as a textbook ideal career path. And I really need to cover the cybersecurity manager more in depth in terms of cybersecurity manager, and then it goes to a different managerial level, right? Senior manager and CISO and consultancy level. So cybersecurity managers, they need to have technical knowledge and technical understanding, but they don't really need, if they have very good technical knowledge, but they lack these skills that you can see right now on the screen, they cannot become managers. It's impossible. So I would say a cybersecurity manager, it's a combination of the project manager, good, very experienced project manager, and some technical knowledge as well. So foundation. And the rest is, it's like, imagine if you building a cybersecurity program and you need a team of network engineers, security engineers, you need a team of architects. So you also need to work closely with development to understand the life cycle, to understand the systems, the data flow and everything, data scientists, maybe data teams. So you need to be a team player. Because no man is an island, and I keep repeating it in my presentations that no man is an island. We are not isolated, so you can never achieve on your own anything. Everything is built on good team skills, team playing skills, and every organization is about its people. And in life, every human is about their social circles. So team player is very important. Then I covered it before, constant desire to learn. Yes, it's always not only cybersecurity, but it's especially cybersecurity, but in many other areas, there should be constant desire to learn. Problem solving, of course, problem solving, the problems, there's constant threats, there's risks to manage, the keep up with different trends, then there are discovered vulnerabilities. How to manage it all? It's always problems keep arising on a daily basis. So problem solving is a very important skill to have. Attention to detail, it goes to the same thing. So attention to detail, how can you assess your risks? If you need to, in order to build a cybersecurity program and to implement some processes, you need to understand your risks, and to assess the risk, you need to have a very good attention to detail, especially when it comes to complicated structures. Critical thinking, of course, how to prioritize. So, for example, you have 10 critical business critical systems, or you have other processes that need attention. So how can you prioritize those? What comes first? And that's, of course, critical thinking. Common sense as well. Creativity is thinking outside of the box, ability to see a bigger picture. So not only from the development point of view, or from sales or marketing point of view, commercial point of view, or people management, you need to have a great overview of all the processes in the company when it comes to the building your career as a cybersecurity manager. Then create communication skills. Of course, if you're a team player, you need to have great communication skills in order to work well as a team. And then you also need to have great communication skills, because cybersecurity goes into absolutely all the areas of every organization. I can tell you, from not going to go into details because of the time constraint, of course, and it might be also a little bit too much into detail, but cybersecurity covers everything, all the processes in the organization. It comes to physical security when it comes to office spaces. So the office managers, employees, HR managers, HR systems, finance, commercial departments, sales department, business department, everything. It has to cover everything. In order to manage risks, you need to assess risk, and to assess risk, you need to understand everything about the organization. That's why great communication skills requires to be able to get all the information possible, and to be able to assess everything together with so many other people with so many different backgrounds. Great time management, of course. There's always, like I said, it's a chasing game. So great time management is very important. And passion, of course, that's okay. I wouldn't say it's mandatory, but I would say it's very important. I put it last. For me, it's first. Passion has to be there in the cybersecurity field, because that everything is driven by passion. So if you have passion, you automatically will get all other skills, because you will wanna succeed. That's why all the other skills have to come as a package. And when we talk about passion, when passion calls, I just want to say an example, a real life example. You can Google him. It's David Colombo. David Colombo, he's 20 now, or 21 now. At the age of 19, he hacked Tesla from the comfort of his house in Germany. 20 or 25 cars around the world, Tesla cars. So there's you can Google it. He's everywhere. So David Colombo, a teen who hacked Tesla, and that's another example of the career path. The guy at the age of 19, did he have any degree? No. So what he was driven by? Passion. So all the coding skills, programming skills, everything he learned on his own, driven by passion, driven by interest. So that's and now he's an ethical hacker, and he's a keynote speaker. So he pursued an ethical hacker career, which is being on the offensive side of security. So he likes to get into systems. For him, it's challenge, and that's what keeps him passionate about it. It's constant challenges, constant that he needs to resolve. So that's another way that people do, but it's I would say it's not something new, because we know a lot of developers, they also become very successful programmers and grow into very high roles, not having any degree. In cybersecurity, it's not a very common practice yet, but it happens as long as you driven by passion and you what we discussed today, you basically try to learn as much as you can, invest as much as you can, and never stop learning, never stop developing. So that's the last one. I think I'm just on time, but I'm going to check more questions. Um, okay, we don't have more questions, I guess. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for being so engaging and participative. I really enjoyed answering your questions. So, um, if anything, no more. Okay, I think we're good. There's, let's give it maybe a couple of minutes. If there's anyone who's live now and have any questions, then I can still answer. Um, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed. I I started it a little bit, as you say, uh, it was a bit. I cannot find the words. I started it a little bit slow because after a long working day, but you see, my passion takes me onto different energy level when we talk about cybersecurity. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you, whoever joined us and watched us. So again, please feel free, find me on LinkedIn, send me a message if you have any questions. As soon as whenever I have free time, I can answer. I will, I promise. And yeah, thank you very much. If you watch it later and you have any requests that you want to see maybe in the future sessions or discuss, please let me know. Let the GDG community, DevMina community, know what are your requests, so I can also do that and maybe tailor some future sessions to make them more interesting and engaging. That will be fun. But for now, thank you for your time. And oh, sorry, I have one more question. What is the best certificate degree? Passion. That's a good joke. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you so much, and see you guys soon.